When our stewardship committee was first brainstorming the theme for this year's stewardship campaign, which is, as you probably know by now, Building Beloved Community, we thought, how cool would it be for us during worship to build, on Pledge Sunday, right up front here, a three-dimensional model of Harvard-Epworth Church, right? Maybe make it out of Legos or gingerbread or, I don't know, stale gummy bears, something. And
then we looked up the lectionary reading that's assigned for today, where Jesus says to his disciples, "This temple looks marvelous, but not one stone will stand upon another." That brought us up a little short.
Yeah.
And it reminded us that building beloved community, though it has the word building in it, is not about the building. Even a building as marvelous as this one, whenever someone comes to visit this space and comes into this sanctuary, they inevitably say, "Oh, wow," right? And this building has been the home to countless worship services and weddings and funerals. This building is home to meetings, to places where folks with substance abuse are getting clean, to support groups for transgender folk in our community. This is a place where the Montessori school meets, where all sorts of communities come to have concerts and recitals. This building is marvelous, and we are blessed to have it. And I just want to do a shout out to the trustees, to Mike and to George, for keeping this building in as good a shape as it is.
Buildings are important. In Jesus' day, the temple in Jerusalem was the center of the faith. It's where worship happened. It's where sacrifices were lifted up to God. It's where offerings were given. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Jewish pilgrims would travel from all over the Greco-Roman world so that they could visit the magnificent temple, to walk upon the sacred cobbles, to place worshiping hands upon holy walls, which is done even today, even though there's only a small fraction of temple wall left.
And I wonder if for some of those disciples, if that was the first time they had seen the temple, because they were so wowed by its beauty and its size.
Buildings are important, and they are not the main point.
Right.
Because Jesus warns us, they don't last. Even when they're made out of beautiful pink granites. The temple in Jerusalem, Jesus warned, would be destroyed a generation after his apocalyptic words that Harmony read this morning. Not one stone left upon another. Buildings are important, but it's important to remember that in the New Testament, we learned in our confirmation class today that the bulk of the New Testament is letters to churches, and none of them had a church building.
That's right.
They were meeting in homes. They were meeting in synagogues and public spaces. But there was not a church building when the New Testament was written. We are blessed with this amazing edifice. But we don't know how long the building at 1555 Massachusetts Avenue in Cambridge is going to last. I've swept enough, and Mike has certainly swept enough eroded red sand from the footsteps, or from the front steps rather, to know that the answer to that is not forever. Jesus' message in Mark 13 is that everything built with human hands, whether a gorgeous church building or an iPhone or an empire, will crumble, will die, will rust, will fail, will rot, will burn. nothing built of human hands will last.
Jesus' life was a ministry that came to show and teach the building of something that does last. His words, his life, his ministry, his healing, all joined together to witness to a realm of love and a way of living out God's kingdom in the world, a community built not of human hands, but of human hearts that does last. And hearing his words, his followers, since then, at our best, and we haven't always been at our best, but his followers, including us at our best, have united to build beloved community that reaches out again and again for love, for justice, whenever there are wars and rumors of wars, whenever there are earthquakes and famines that plague our country, that plague our world, our beloved community is there to respond.
This morning we look again to the prophet Micah, who invites us to build beloved community through doing justice, loving kindness and mercy, and through walking humbly with our God. This week we want to focus on that third part, this traveling, journeying through life with humility. In Hebrew, it's tzanah.
And journeying with humility reminds us what is the main point and what is not the main point. It's not the quality of our building, it's the quality of the community within the building. Thank you for witnessing to your experience when you first started here, Tiffany. We're so glad to hear that. Journeying humbly with God reminds us that in this congregation, present in person and present online, every one of us is beloved. Journeying together in this community, humbly and with God, we listen for God's calling in our lives, and we do the best we can to live that out and to support each other as we do that, faithfully, humbly, together with each other and together with God. The building blocks, if you will, the building components of beloved community here at Harvard-Epworth, you know what they are. They're love and grace and acceptance and welcome and prayer and honesty and forgiveness and passion and learning and service and humility. And did I mention love and grace? Maybe especially grace. Those building components of beloved community are stronger than any stone will ever be. They're more flexible, they're more alive, they're more responsive to life's challenges, they're more real, and they exist in this beloved community. Like the way that we see a wind moving branches of a tree, we see what the effects of that beloved community is in the ways that we all reach out to each other and to the world. And so we want to share a story with you about a spontaneous beloved community, not in a church, but it expressed what we are trying to describe.
This is from a few years ago on a social networking site you might have heard about called Twitter.
Back when it was called Twitter.
Back when it was called Twitter and before it had become X and turned into a cesspool. Sorry, you don't need to go there.
You don't need to go there.
Someone named Nicole asked her crew, "What is the kindest thing a stranger has done or said to you?" And a bookstore owner shared this story. "I used to manage an LGBTQ bookstore when bookstores were still a thing." He obviously needs to move to Cambridge, where it still is a thing. "One night, a caller says he thinks he might be gay and is considering self-harm. Now, we were not a crisis center, but I'm thinking as long as we're talking, he's safe, right? So I talk to this guy, and I answer questions, and I try to be encouraging, and I'm sounding maybe a little frantic, and I'm definitely ignoring the 4 or 5 customers in the store, and this angel of a woman puts her hand on my shoulder and asks for my phone. "My turn," she says. And she, this 50-something lesbian, talks to this stranger on the phone. And a line forms behind her. Every customer in the store knows that phone call, knows that feeling, and every person in line takes a turn talking to that man. That story comforts me so much to this day.
That is beloved community. And we don't know, but I'm guessing they didn't need a single committee meeting to make that happen, right?
There obviously were not a Methodist bookstore.
That there was something that was invisible and was incredibly real, that knew what to do to support someone in need at that time, and folk just lined up to do what was needed, to share their faith, to share their belief in belovedness and in wholeness and worthiness. So, as powerful as stones are, we want to have an image that's different from stones. For our beloved community image this morning. And we're gonna do an exercise together this morning to experience that. So stay where you are.
This is the metaphor that Barb was warning the kids about earlier.
No, I wasn't warning. Here you go. So we're going to make a web this morning out that will show the connections that we have. For those of you who are online, we'll turn the camera so that you can see some of what's going on here. And if you would like to put in the chat ways that you have experienced beloved community, either here at Harvard-Epworth or other places, that would be wonderful as far as participating.
But they're already on a worldwide web, so...
That's also true. A note for those of you in the congregation, we will turn the camera around so that folks online can see folks. If you do not wish to be on camera, I think if you move over to that side of the church, the camera won't reach over there. I don't know if that's an issue for anyone, but if it is, please do. So
there will be flying.
It's tied to you. Ah, okay.
I don't want it to go. I'm not.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pass this around, and by the end of this exercise, we would like everyone in this room to have a piece of the yarn and to have thrown it to someone else. So hang on to your piece before you throw it across the room. This will be a little chaotic. The balls will fall on the floor. It's okay.
It's very soft.
Beloved community is often a little chaotic, right? I'm thinking this might be easier. Well, no, I think you're good where you are. All right, so you might catch somebody's eye, and let's make sure the yarn goes across the aisles a few times. Ready? Okay.
Back here?
Find someone and throw it aside. And unwind it a little, Joan, and then throw it to someone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you all are so shy. Be kids. Nice. It's okay if it goes under the pews, not to worry.
Keep going back. Or back one. Okay. And if the web comes close to you, grab a chunk of it. It's just like, Tom's open.
Nice. Applause is okay for good catches, right? It's kind of like a sign of sheets, right? Absolutely. Just keep it moving. Nice, Tom. Absolutely. Woo! Oh, good for you, Bonnie. So if you're not connected to the yarn yet, put up a hand so we know where to go. Okay. So we need Brandon, can you wing it way over to that side? Over by the doors. Nice. Again, hands up if you need the yarn. Carmen? And Carmen, behind you, Christine. Oh, you're good. Okay. You guys are okay up here? All right. All right, are we getting all connected? For those of you who are visitors, we don't do this every Sunday, right? So again, hands up. How are we doing?
Everyone?
Okay, I think we've pretty much got it. All right, Sikwan. And then up here, Sikwan. So just a couple, I would just want you to notice a couple things. So just sit a minute and notice how even when we're not moving, the strings are moving, right? What it is that connects us as beloved community is alive. It's alive and waiting for us to act on those connections. And I'm going to say everyone who has a birthday in February, April, and November, put your arm that's holding the string up in the air. All right? And so you notice how when some people raise up the string, all the other strings move along with it, right? It's an easy metaphor, but this is making visible the connections that are here already. If we were really going to make visible all the connections that are here, we would have to spend at least an hour passing this ball back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. We're not going to do that this morning. But this is what we make possible when we are together. This is what our pledge supports. This is what our becoming part of the beloved community makes and creates in the world. And it is a blessing. And it is fun, right? God is all over fun, my friends. So what we would like you all to do this morning is we're gonna sing a round together. And then after that round, we're going to invite you to bring pledge cards up to the front of the sanctuary. We'll have the plate be here. I know there's yarn everywhere. I think what we'll do is we'll sort of pass the yarn kind of over people's heads toward the center aisle. Can we do that? And there are pledge cards in your bulletins. If you need pencils, there's some in the back that I'm sure Tom will bring around to you. If you've made a pledge online, those of you who are here in person, I would encourage you to still bring a card up, because the physical bringing up of the card is part of being the beloved community, right? So do that this morning as well. Do we have any questions, or are you all good? A little tangled up, but otherwise okay. All right.